if something happens today out of my selfish ambition and cowardliness, he gets the glory. And so Paul goes on to say, but we have this treasure. We have this treasure. What's this treasure? The treasure of Christ and knowing him. Where do we have this treasure? Jars of clay. Seems kind of unfitting, right? When you find a great treasure, do you put it in a jar of clay? Or do you put it up somewhere high for everyone to see? Why does God put the most valuable thing, his son, in jars of clay? To show the surpassing power belongs to God. How is that glory shown? Like Moses' face. Remember Moses coming down the mountain? His face was for everyone to see. Not a person could look at Moses and say, oh, I don't see nothing. I don't see anything special. Nothing special about those people. They saw Moses' face and they were terrified. And then they were comforted. But we are in a covenant in which we're told the glory can be manifested more greatly and eternally through us, like Moses. How? We are afflicted. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not driven to despair. Paul says we are persecuted, but not forsaken. Because Christ is with us. He never leaves us. He never forsakes us. So we can be afflicted in every way. These clay pots can be thrown up against a brick wall, afflicted in every way, but they're not going to be crushed. You can try a man and throw all the perplexing situations in his life, but he will not be driven to despair. You can persecute him, take his life, but he will not be forsaken. And you can strike him down, but he will not be destroyed. Because when clay pots, which are supposed to be crushed, are thrown up against a brick wall and being afflicted, and they're not crushed, something happens in a person's mind. What's wrong with that jar of clay? Why isn't that jar of clay doing what every other jar of clay does when it's afflicted? To show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not driven to despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Struck down, but not destroyed. Always, 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 always carrying in the body the death of Jesus. You see, we are the body of Christ. And we go out as the body of Christ and proclaim Jesus Christ, him crucified and risen. We proclaim him as our greatest treasure. And as we are afflicted and suffer for his message, we carry on the same afflictions that Jesus Christ suffered. Manifestation of it right there and present for those people who can't see Jesus because he's in heaven. How can the world see Jesus afflicted and know that he loves them and that he would give his life down for them? By us. Because they will know you by your love. When I will not be crushed and I will not be driven to despair, forsaken, carrying the death of Jesus in my body, but have life, I manifest to them that Jesus Christ did not only die, but he was resurrected and that he now lives in my heart and is comforting me. Anytime you suffer the death of this world from the fall, but have joy, you manifest to them right then and there the life of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our bodies. For we who live, Paul clarifies, who's doing this carrying of death and the carrying of life of Jesus' body? For we who live, we who've been made alive, we who have been born again, are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake. Get this, your suffering with joy is manifesting the glory. Like Moses' face on the mountain coming down, your suffering with joy manifest to a lost world Jesus Christ and Him crucified. The most important thing is not security and safety. The most important thing is knowing Christ. And when you have that, you have everything. See, Jesus is not all we need. He's all we have. He's all we have. And the problem with this living in this luxurious world is that we are constantly having to battle our affections for things that aren't worth our affections. And so with our luxury and comfort, we find comfort in things that are not God. And so when those things are taken away from us, we cry. Hey, what's going on? God, I thought you loved me, and now you're taking away my security? That's not love. And Jesus is saying, look at my face. Look at my face. Stop looking at that. Look at my face, and you'll be happy. You'll be comforted. Stop looking to this. It doesn't bring you joy. It's fading away. It's falling apart. Thieves will come in and steal it, and moth will corrupt, and rust will destroy. Lay up for yourself treasures in heaven. Husbands, death is at work in you so that life may be in your wives. Wives, death is at work in you so that there may be life in your husbands. Parents, there is death right now in your lives so that there may be life in your children. Singles, there is death in your life right now so you may manifest the joy of Christ to others who are single. So you may be a comfort to them who are struggling with the same struggles you are. Paul teaches that God's appointed means for life and fruitfulness is to come from death and sacrifice. That's the means that God has instilled in creation. Just like God has ordained that intercourse produce children or work to produce crop, He's designed it, this is His design, that suffering and death produce life. That's God's appointed means. So if you want to have life, if you want to have joy, if you want to serve those around you, die. This is God's appointed means work to accomplish His ends work. That is, Jesus Christ glorified and worshipped. This is so countercultural that nearly everything we purchase and almost everything that we decide are made on the antithesis of this idea. You guys follow that? Every decision we make, all the purchases we make them on a lie, the antithesis of truth. Life comes from death. What do? We make our decisions and our purchases and our day-to-day lives based upon the lie that we can have ultimate reward with minimal sacrifice. That we can have outrageous, loving kids on fire for Christ with little sacrifice and devotion to them. That we can have wives that shine with the glory of the church without any investment in their lives. Wives, that you could win your lost husband without any sacrifice is a lie. Christ has called you to die. We want results with minimal sacrifice. We want life and joy and peace at the press of a button. Remote controls, microwaves, keyless entry, TVR, sales, etc. These things in themselves are not evil, but what are they communicating to us? And are we believing it? That we can get ultimate instant satisfaction with minimal sacrifice. They're lies. They're lies. They're lies from the devil to deceive you that you can find joy and happiness and peace and rest in minimal sacrifice. Look to Jesus. Did he obtain his prize without dying? Did he win your heart without dying?